Well, this was not the news I expected to wake up to today. In a shocking sudden announcement, Kings Island have announced that Vortex will close permanently following the conclusion of the 2019 season. This comes as a shock to pretty much everyone, since Vortex is still a very popular coaster at Kings Island, and it's also an aerodynamics coaster, which seemed like they could be around forever. Vortex opened at Kings Island in 1987 and was quite the record breaker of the time, including 6 inversions. In short, it was like the steel curtain of the 80s. So why now, after 32 years, have Cedar Fair made the decision to close it? We just lost Firehawk last year, and with a new Giga coaster being built as we speak, it seems like an awkward time to close what's considered a fan favorite coaster. Cedar Fair did announce last year that they would be closing attractions at their parks that are not popular with guests or are just not viable to continue to operate, and we saw this with the closure of Firehawk and Volcano the Blast coaster. However, aero coasters aren't extremely difficult to maintain, that's why there are still so many of them around, so what's going on here? Sadly, I think we're looking at a case where Cedar Fair just decided the coaster is getting too old to keep operating. Unless there's some sort of structural issue that we're not aware of, but I doubt that. It's a shame though. I had heard a lot of conflicting reports of how enjoyable Vortex was, and I made my first trip to Kings Island this past June to see it for myself. It was rough, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't terrible. I did like it enough to ride it 2 more times, so that's gotta mean something, right? The Batwing, though, was pretty aggressive. So, what could be next? Vortex sits on a large plot of land, so there are a number of attractions the park could fit back here. Most would be quick to point out a roller coaster model the park could fit in this area, and I have heard talk of an RMC Raptor going in here, and I don't think that's a bad idea at all, but I think this is part of a larger expansion. We've got Orion opening next year, so why would they try to turn everyone's attention away from it by building another coaster where Vortex is? At least so soon. I'm sure there could be 1 or 2 attractions going in here, but I think most of this land will be used for some sort of expansion to the Midway. Maybe a new shop and restaurant? Of course, it's far too early to know what will be going here, but it will be a bittersweet sight to see Orion being built while Vortex is demolished. This does put things into a new perspective, though. For a while, I've known a lot of people who think aero coasters are invincible and will be around forever. Obviously, now that's not the case. Are coasters like Magnum in any kind of danger? What about Anaconda? Okay, I know there are a bunch of you who would actually be happy if Anaconda closed, but you get my point. Now we have to consider what aero coasters could be at risk of closing. But before you do that, and if you have the means, hurry and make your last trips out to Kings Island to ride Vortex. It's definitely an experience, and I'm glad I got to ride it. And while you're there, take a ride on Bat as well, since I have a bad feeling that one's not long for this world either, though I really hope I'm wrong on that. Vortex won't be forgotten anytime soon, and I encourage you to share your thoughts on the coaster and its closing in the comments below. As usual, I appreciate you all watching my videos, and I'll have more coaster content here soon on Rampaging Rex Productions.